Hey, and welcome to the final act of Joe Biden's clown show. Only problem with Joe Biden's clown show, only problem, probably the major problem with Joe Biden's clown show is his foolish acts that are causing so much damage, trouble, and heartache, and just plain misery. Just in the last few days, we've got this, we're going to halt drilling. I mean, okay, I know Trump's going to come and reverse that. Oh, excuse me. He's going to reverse that quickly. Matter of fact, Trump's going to come in and reverse a lot of it quickly. I wouldn't be shocked if Trump has a list that will become one executive act. I actually I'm not sure about that. I don't know how much he can cover on one executive action, but I think it would be just so cool to have a laundry list and say, okay, scratch this, scratch that, scratch this, scratch that. It's all done. One executive action, sign it, you're done. Move on, do business. That would be just so cool. I don't know if that's the way he's going to do it or not, but I do know he's going to take care of business. But this no more, no more drilling. I mean, okay, that's foolhardy. I don't even know if anybody's actually going to slow down anything or stop moving equipment or for a couple of days. I don't even know if they'll do that. I hope they just ignore him. But I don't want anybody going to jail over it. I really don't. On the other hand, I don't want anybody causing a delay in anything over that kind of. That's just such garbage. And let's give Hillary a medal of what was that? A peace medal or piece of something medal? Hillary, really? Did you guys ever watch the movie Pluto Nash? That was who was that? The black guy. Yeah, he is great. Eddie Murphy. Yeah, Pluto Nash and on the moon, right? And he pays off these gangsters with millions of dollars, and Hillary's face is on the $10 note, and he'd pay him off in Hillary's. I mean, how long ago was that movie? But still, it makes me laugh. But on the other hand, I'm laughing, but I'm crying. To give her a medal, I mean, come on, what is that? What silliness is that? That so many things. I mean, did he went to the site where in New Orleans? A president should do things like that. But he looked like a zombie getting out of a truck, lay a flower down, and make the sign of the cross, which is his Catholic right. I'm not going to deny him that. And I'm not even going to make fun of it. Although I guess just by saying that I have. I was raised Catholic. I know what he was doing. I don't believe Catholics kind of mess things up a bit. But that's another story for another day. But he went, yeah, okay, fine. He missed an awful lot of other things, though. Jimmy Carter's gone. I guess they had a parade for him, and I did not watch that one. I probably should have. At Jimmy Carter, I was, I was there for Jimmy Carter. That was in 75. I was 75, I think. Yeah, he was running in 75, 76. He got elected. So I was around for that one. And I thought, gee, what a nice guy for president. I'm talking about in 1975, Nice smile, nice, pleasant guy. Whoa, man, he probably had, like, good intentions the whole time. I really think he did. He was just too nice a guy not to. But he got tanked. I mean, he just got rolled over. They put him in positions that were just horrible, and he left the country badly. And luckily, Reagan came in and quickly took care of getting some hostages back. Remember the crisis in the Gulf, the 400 days of hostages under the Ayatollah Khomeini after the Shah of Iran left. That was all Jimmy Carter, along with a bunch of other stuff. But Jimmy Carter was weak. He was extremely weak. And do you want a nice guy to be president? Well, I mean, that's kind of cool. Nice guy. I like a nice guy. Or who wouldn't? Best friend. He could be my best friend, but he can't be president. I probably would not be your best friend, but I could make a pretty good president. But that's my opinion, and I'm welcome to it, right? Like, whatever. But yeah, Joe's not a nice guy. If you follow Joe's career, and I mean, they put out stuff. I don't know how many of you actually watch it, but they put out stuff. Little montages of him through the ages, flip-flopping his opinion on whichever way the wind's blowing. But if you look at every stand that he has ever taken, and I haven't found one that was good yet. I mean, it doesn't follow this. But every stand that he ever took on any foreign policy matter throughout his 450-year political career, according to him, every stand he was always on the wrong side. He was always, if you take a look at what he was in favor of or fought for or rallied for or whatever, and then look at it, he never hit the mark, not once. And yet, we put him in office. We did it. Or did we? I think we didn't. I think it was stolen. But nonetheless, there were a lot of people backing him. Otherwise, he couldn't even have stolen it. It's horrible. Now, one thing that I've heard said, I think is kind of interesting, is if Trump had not been taken, if his second term had not been purloined, then right now, instead of Trump coming into office, he'd be going out of office. Of course, we would have also not had the last 4 years of horror. So, I don't know how you'd balance one with the other. And hopefully by now, hey, Pence might be coming in. He and Pence got along great. That thing at the end, I mean, Pence was either threatened and did what he did, or he just felt that his constitutional duty was different than what Trump thought it was. But that was the one time that Trump said do this and he did the other. And, well, if he's standing on principle and did what he thought was right, and Trump got pretty angry about it, I can see where the two of them wouldn't be buddies anymore. And okay, whatever. I think J.D. Vance is great, and I'm glad we got him. But there's millions of guys out there that are great, and we could be glad we got them. It's what we have right now. Trump's coming in a few days. Now, what's going to happen? This is what's today? 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere in the neighborhood. You got 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks left, and Trump will be in, God willing. Now, I keep saying, and you've all heard me say that Kamala will be president for a day. Now, a day a week. Can't be a month, because ain't a month left. It's getting to where it can't be 2 weeks, but, Joe's going to have a bad hair day. Well, he always has a bad hair day. And then Kamala's going to be in, and then Kamala's going to be out, and Trump will be 48 instead of 47. Okay, whatever. I don't think that in the era of confusion that would occur during those couple days that she will be able to actually accomplish anything. Or de-accomplish, whatever. I just don't know. So I'm not, although I still think it's going to happen. I really do. And prove me wrong, I'm fine with that. I'm not always right. I get a lot of stuff right, but I'm not always right. Alex Jones gets more right than I do. And he's not always right, but he's almost always right. Yeah, almost. Me, yeah, I get some pretty impressive stuff, but It's not about that. What it's about is this country. And what it's not about whether Kamala gets to be president for a day, unless something calamitous occurs because of that. I don't really care. But what I do care about is keeping Donald safe. I'd like to talk about two things that happened. I mean, we had this New Orleans thing. Keep in mind, we're going to have every distraction that the left can come up with and throw at us. And the New Orleans thing and the Las Vegas thing, you know, both happened New Year's Day, New Year, whatever. Yeah, it was both day. Major distractions, major. But that's all they were. But well, except for the injured and dead and the families. For them, I express my deepest sorrow and my deepest sympathy to those who would grieve and certainly for the injured. I pray for a quick and pain-free healing for every one of them. I mean, that's my prayer. I want you to join with me in that. Hey, kitten, how you doing? So yes, definitely. But that was I don't know how to put it. Was it staged? There was more to that than we will ever know. And when you kill the guy that did it, not that he shouldn't have been. It's just it gets harder and harder, and it gives the deep state a chance to plant whatever the heck they want, wherever they want. So I don't think we'll ever hear all of what happened there, except the horror of it. Now the truck, come on, was that a sign or what? Tesla truck, Elon Musk, in Trump's building in Las Vegas. Trump, Tesla. Yeah. Now Teslas, you know, they catch fire and burn up. That's not what happened. That truck didn't. There was no damage whatsoever to that battery. Matter of fact, if it had been, it would have been a horrific flame event under that hotel. But no, that's not what happened. It set off a bunch of fireworks. It just and the guy is shot in the head. Maybe it's him. DNA doesn't match all of a sudden. There's a weapon on the floor. Was it the one that shot him? How did the vehicle get there? He shot himself and then he blew it up. He blew it up and then he shot himself. All this is pretty hard to do. What do? Put the fuse to the firecrackers in the barrel of the gun? It's just too insane to even comprehend, to do it based on whatever. You know, there's been many government entities that used the murder-suicide routine. I actually knew a fellow in Louisiana many years ago, back when I lived in Louisiana, back in the out bayou area. I had a tractor that I would get stuck in the backyard regularly, and I had to get a tow truck out there to get it out, but tow truck couldn't get anywhere near it. It was muck, gumbo, they call it, where the ground looks solid, but it rocks when you stand on it. You really don't want to drive anything heavy on it, and my tractor usually was okay, but I'd get it stuck regular. Okay, let's just put it that way. And I found a local guy had a tow truck, and he just a guy with a tow truck. It wasn't a big company or anything. And I told him, I said, look, I get this thing stuck, and then I do dangerous things trying to get it out, you know, where I might flip it over or something. And I don't want to do that. I just want somebody to be kind of on call, like I get it stuck on a weekend, and I call you up, and whenever you feel like it, you come out there. And he would set up in the neighbor's yard. I had like 3 or 4 acres. I think the furthest I could get from a place that you could put concrete, maybe 400 or 500 feet. And he would set up in the neighbor's driveway on concrete and block his truck in. And then stretch out a cable and hook it to my tractor and just kind of pull it up out the mud where it was sitting on something dry. He didn't have to do anything more than that, and then I'd drive it out of there. And this would happen 3 times a year or so, usually during the wet season. And it was funny. I actually didn't know the guy. Quite honestly, this is something I never met him. Because I called him on the phone. I told him about it. He took care of it while I was gone. And then I don't know what I did. I sent him a check or left him a check there or whatever. But it really, I mean, he was a nice guy. He was good to me. You know, he didn't charge me much back then, $20-$30. But he knew all he had to do was come out there, stretch out a cable, hook to it, yank it out, and he was gone. He probably didn't spend more than 15 minutes there. And keep in mind, this was in 1980. So, you know, $20-$30 was $120 now, more than that maybe. Anyway, it was a good deal for me because I didn't tear things up trying to get my tractor out. Once it got stuck, I just said, leave it there, call him. So I did that pretty regular. And what does that have to do with this story? Well, one day I called him up and there was no answer, and I called, no answer, called, I kept calling it. And then I found somebody that knew him, and I called them and they said, oh yeah, he passed away. I said, really? What happened? I shouldn't be telling you this, but I got most of the story out of them. He was found dead inside his truck that was burnt to the ground. You know, what does a dump truck look like after it's burnt completely? Probably pretty horrendous. And but he was inside the truck. The truck was locked. He was inside it, and he had 2 bullet wounds to his head. The truck was on fire and burnt to the ground. And that, I'm not going to mention the name of the little town that it was out in Louisiana, in an area that secedes from the Union every once in a while, just because they like doing that. Their sheriff's department, the deputies, whatever, were able to determine that it was in fact suicide. They actually had some training on how to determine suicides, because there had been a few, one in particular where a fellow had some cement blocks chained to his body, and the body had several bullet wounds in it, and it was found in the bottom of a pond. And see, that one was where they were really having difficulty, but after their training, they were able to determine that it was in fact a suicide. Much like the suicide of this guy in the Las Vegas vehicle. It's perhaps the Las Vegas police were trained by some of the same people that trained the Louisiana sheriffs. I'm not sure, but they were able to determine that it was in fact a suicide inside a burnt vehicle with bullet holes in his head. And it's never just one bullet hole, it's like several, because it's like one just won't do it when you're doing suicide. Yeah, so here, what am I getting at with all that? Well, it wasn't what it seemed to be. It was a message. It wasn't like he was feeling sad that day. Matter of fact, everything you hear about him is a pretty top flight guy. Somebody didn't like him. That's for sure. Somebody didn't like him. That's always true. I know there's actually some people that don't like me. I hope they don't like me that much. They don't dislike me. You know how it goes. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping that. Although, quite honestly, I don't know whether it would make a whole lot of difference at this point. So, what am I getting at? Well, it was a message. And, the message is pretty stark. Trump, watch your back, dude. Man, they've been trying to shoot you. Now they're sending messages. I'm praying for you every day, man. you're my man. I don't want anything happening to you or Elon or any of the people you're putting in that I've seen. A pretty good bunch. I do wonder about Matt Gaetz. I mean, if I had to guess, Matt Gaetz did some silly stuff that he shouldn't have done, but he would have been a great, you know, he'd have been great. He got McCarthy out, you know. I mean, think about it. But people do. I've done some stuff that I really wouldn't want on the news, but I don't know that it would change the world if it was on the news. I just wouldn't really want it there. Like, why would I want a thing like that? So that's what's going on in the world. You got like these bills that are 1,300 pages. Do you guys understand how that happens? Those bills are written by not one person, by a group of elite bureaucrats who do nothing but draw a salary and write laws that would put lots and lots of money in the pockets of people that don't need it, drug companies and such, and they write these laws long, and they put a whole bunch of stuff in it. That has nothing to do with how our laws were meant to be. Our laws were meant to be a balanced budget put out by the House and approved and stuck to. That means, you know, forget about debt. You got a balanced budget. Taxes weren't on the people were never intended. That was to be handled by tariffs. That was intended. Tariffs were intended. That's how the tariffs and certain fees. That's how the government is to fund itself. And there are other means, but income tax, no. And income tax has never really been anything but a burden on the citizens. I mean, we fought a civil war over a couple percent tax on tea, and now most of your income goes towards tax, one way or the other. And I mean, you pay tax, and then you pay tax on what was left, and then that tax, you pay other tax and then if you buy something and get rid of it, you got to pay that too. This is so wrong, and prices are so inflated, and not by it's not like, oh, people are gouging. No, it has nothing to do with that. Free market take care of that in a heartbeat. You don't even have to think about it. I mean, gouging's bad, and you know it should not be approved, but free market will take care of that in a heartbeat. If you don't undercut all the little guys and put in laws and restrictions that let the big guys go. There's a medication that I take that I pretty much keep me alive, and I'm not going to mention what it is because I don't want it to go away, but it costs just about $1,000 a month without insurance. With insurance, it costs almost as much. And if you buy the insurance, that plus the cost of your copay and everything really costs just as much. So insurance doesn't do you a bit of good. But that's you look at that and you say, oh well, at least I get discount. No, you don't really. I was able to find the chemical equivalent. And when I say equivalent, I don't mean kind of almost the same. I mean exactly the same. A formulation for, instead of $1,000 a month, it's like a couple of dollars a month buying some bulk chemical. And I'm not going to get into what it is. And it's certainly legal to buy. It's not like I'm buying. But people don't know it, and I don't know how the doctors that are prescribing it don't know. I've told a few of them, and they just were nearly amazed. I mean, they're not chemical engineers. They're not going to look at it the same way I do, and it's like about all they'll say is, well, good on you, but it's not like they're going to take all their patients that need it and say, hey, look, you really don't need to spend that money, because they're probably, I'm not, these are doctors actually alike. But I'm going to say, in general, on the average, they're getting kickbacks on that medication. They prescribe it, and that's all tracked, and they get to go on skiing trips and get cash kickbacks and things like that. So why would they? And then they're told, well, yeah, but the insurance will pay for it anyway. So that's not true. None of that's true. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's true on nearly, I'm not going to say all, nearly any medical treatment that's available. That, it doesn't cost $100 to give somebody an aspirin in the hospital. It costs $100 to keep all the bureaucrats and what administrators and all the rules and what have you. Oh, God, I would hate being a nurse right now. I've been in a hospital, like I spent half of December in the hospital, went in a couple times for a couple different things, and I met some of the most wonderful people in there that took care of me. But my God, I would not want their job. And I thank them profusely for what they did, but I'd even thank them when they couldn't do what they knew they wanted to try and help out. And I also spent a lot of time explaining to them why I was not going to take half or more of the things that they were offering, because they weren't necessary. They weren't either necessary or they could be harmful, and they're all part of, and the only reason they would give it is part of protocol. It's not that the nurse wanted to give it to me. Protocol. And these protocols are just, they're killing people. They're killing people. And the nurses know it, but it's like, you want a job? This is your job. Your job, follow this protocol. That's your job. It's pathetic. It's horrible. It's horrifying. But nonetheless, I'm taking care of myself the best I can. My beautiful wife is doing everything she can to help me out. And I'm going to tell you what, it's working her to a frazzle, because I got a lot going on. And whatever, a lot of days I can't get out of bed, but who cares as far as this conversation is concerned? I thank you guys for your prayers. I know, I can feel them. I can feel them. No kidding. Prayers and comments. I love them to death. Okay, here's the gig. Pray for our president. Follow what's going on. We need to do that. He's got the right track. I don't know about Greenland. I'm going to tell you the truth. Greenland and the Panama Canal, all of a sudden, that's what everybody's talking about. I think Donald Trump learned a lesson the last time around. I'm not saying Greenland's a bad idea. I'm not saying what he's talking about with the Panama Canal is a bad idea. I'm not saying either one of those. I'm saying he has figured out that he needs to have something out there to keep people busy, so that they're not following what he's actually trying to accomplish. Now, like I said, Greenland might be a great thing for us. I like that Canada can be the 51st state. I don't know about that one. Maybe it could be the 51st through the 54th state. I don't know. If Canada wants to do that and the people want to do that, and they make a good case for how everybody will be better, whatever. It's not even really on my mind that much. Justin Trudeau, he's a turd in the punch bowl. Now, is in him saying that he's going to resign and teared up, I talked to my family and I think it would be best for the country. Oh yeah, it'd be best for the country, all right. But the thing is, he never said he was going to resign. He put his parliament out of business. What do they call that? There's a word. I don't know. I can look it up. I'll do that later. What he did to Congress, it's not his Congress, it's his parliament. He basically put them out of business until March. And he said, now after you guys get back and think about it and decide somebody you want to put in, then I'll resign, right? He didn't say he was going to resign. He said he might. And then he did all that. The man ain't going anywhere. At least not without an exceptionally hard push. The man's a snake. And you need to know it. I mean, he's bad. He's bad. Just plain old bad. But George Soros likes him. George Soros. Remember, we have put over half of the Canadian cabinet is in the New World Order, and several other nations as well. I don't know how well I did George Soros there, but George Soros is a scary dude. That man's way, way too much power, and definitely, an evil kind of guy. But he doesn't do this, but you understand where I'm going with that. So you guys have a very blessed day. I wanted to get back in touch as soon as I could, as I was up and able. So keep an eye out. Keep sending me the. I don't get a whole lot of response on YouTube, but I do on my other things. But please like, share, and subscribe on this. Please, I'm going to start leaving links to Alex Jones, because you guys, that man's been through so much and he's done so much. And I know he's weird, and I know he's sounds crazy sometimes, but I also know he's got a good heart, and he's right, and he does research, and he does what he says he does, and that means a lot. It means a lot. I mean, it just does. So I'm gonna put a link to his store and whatever. You guys can go check him out. But yeah, stay in touch with him too, because, yeah. Can you imagine? Well, at least we got through January 6th without a Democrats election. I mean, I didn't really think we were going to, but I knew it was possible for something weird to occur. But it was heartfelt to see Kamala put Donald Trump and certify his election. That was heartwarming. Yeah. God bless all of you. Seek Jesus. Amen.